There are some dishes that we've all heard of, or maybe we've tried, maybe we've wanted to try them because we heard of them, that seem really, really difficult, but they're actually very, very simple. Most cooking really is simple. It's about pairing your ingredients properly with good technique. Today I want to show you a very, very popular dish. Very popular dish. It is bulgogi, which is actually Korean for fire meat. Yep. Bulgogi, and it's going to be fire.
I see what you did there.
It's going to be lit.
Nope.
It's going to be bussin'.
Yep.
I don't like it. Let me show you guys how to make it. The first thing we need to do is get to our marinade, the sauciness of our dish. This is very, very simple. It's all going to go into a blender and get mixed up together. Let's start with a pear. Now, pear is fantastic for a couple of reasons. Obviously, it's delicious, but also there are some fruits that have an enzyme in them that it... Can you nerd?
Nerd out.
I was going to ask. I shouldn't even ask. We're just going to do it. It denatures the proteins. It actually starts to break down the meat, which is, you can tenderize meat that way, but you can also ruin meat that way. Pears have that. Kiwis have that. If you want to do a fun science experiment, blend up a bunch of kiwi and pear and throw... Whoa, love bugs. See this?
They're everywhere.
They love it when I nerd out.
Uh-huh.
That's what it is. I'm pretty sure isn't that what it is?
It's like butterflies showing up when we're talking about love or something. Love bugs show up with food.
When I nerd out.
Yeah.
If you want to do a fun science experiment, blend up some pear and kiwi and throw a pork chop in a bag and let it marinate for like 2 days. Meat pudding. Yeah. I'm not doing that. Am I spoiling today?
A little bit, dude.
Well, I'm going to stop talking about it. So the enzyme in pear will help tenderize, denature the protein slightly, giving us a much more tender piece of beef, which is great. So I'm gonna throw all of this right into a blender. That was one small pear. I'm gonna do the same thing with some onion. I almost exclusively use sweet onion for most applications. Same thing here. Let me peel one more layer off of this guy. The onion and pear is gonna give us this really sweet, like natural sweetness to it. We're gonna add a bit of sugar too, but that's just to kind of bolster up the natural sweetness of our pear and our onion. Give that a go. Toss all of this. What do you hear?
The bugs.
Do you hear the cicadas? Love bugs, cicadas. Our pets' heads are...
Nope. Nah, dude.
Wrong show. Those shenanigans can be found over at CJ's First Cooking Show, not here. Let's go in with a couple of cloves of garlic, whole garlic, right in there. Can you see that, CJ? I'll move that out of the way for you. Let's go with our liquids now. We've got some soy sauce. If you want to, you can use the low sodium, but going full high test, full caliber.
Full sodium, huh?
Full sodium. Give that a good bit. We're probably looking at 1/3 of a cup to a 1/2 cup. Probably could have taken the top off.
Yeah.
Or we can just hang out with the cicadas for a minute. Are they loud? Can you hear them?
Yeah.
Let me know in the comments if you guys are in Florida and the cicadas sound like they're yelling at you. A bit of sesame oil as well. We talked about sesame oil in the past. It is potent, so go light. You don't need to go too heavy. Let's add some brown sugar to this as well. CJ?
Yep.
Cedric, do you know why brown sugar is brown?
No.
Would you like to?
I was dying to know.
Really? Seriously?
Totally.
It's very, very simple. Most granulated sugar, like white sugar, is found or made from sugar beets or sugar cane. But when they extract the molasses out of the sugar cane, that is when you get brown sugar. It's the molasses that makes it brown, giving it a much richer flavor. Now this looks pretty amazing. How do you feel about this, buddy? I'm gonna go a bit more soy sauce.
I was thinking it needed a little bit more soy.
Also too, I want this to be a little thin, not too thin, but just a little thin. I'm gonna add a bit of water as well. We can adjust with water. Obviously we're not adding any flavor with the water, but we are adding texture. All right, this part's gonna be loud, so I'm not gonna talk for a second. We'll just blend this up.
Quiet on set.
That's true. Look at that. Said I wasn't gonna talk, but I can't help myself. We want it to be pretty well blended, just like that. Actually, I feel good about the consistency. That little bit of water was exactly enough. Isn't that what Bruce Mitchell says?
Yep.
How much?
Just
exactly that much.
Exactly that.
So I have some ribeye. You could use sirloin. I think the ribeye is much more wonderful and fantastic because of the fat, and I want the fat. So I'm gonna put all of my sliced ribeye into a bowl, and I'm gonna cover it with that beautiful, get out of here, bugs, that beautiful marinade. Lovely. Now this is gonna both be our sauce and our marinade. So give this a good toss with your tongs. And you know, you could do this the day before, let it go overnight and marinate. You don't wanna go too long. I wouldn't go 24 hours. Remember what we said about the enzymes in pear? It'll mess with the meat too much. You can go too far. So this looks pretty good for me. All right, we're gonna let this go, let's say no less than an hour. An hour is pretty good. All right, so once they're covered, go ahead and toss this in the fridge for an hour, and then all you have to do is cook it, which is really simple. We'll get to that in just a bit. It's been about 30 minutes. Let's go ahead and get our vegetables cruising. I have the other half of that yellow onion that we used. I'm gonna do a decent julienne here, a little thicker than a julienne. Some people like to marinate their bulgogi with the onions inside, which is cool. You can do that. I like them separate. That way I'm gonna cut them in half one more time, just a little bit more bite size. I like to do them separate so I can still maintain some of that bite, some of that crunch in the onion. We're also gonna do the same thing. There we go, CJ, I'm getting awful clumped. I'm just really excited about bulgogi. We're gonna do the same thing to some red bell pepper, a nice julienne, cut it in half so it's a bit more bite size, and it's time to cook. All right, this beauty has been chilling for a good bit. Look at that. Gorgeous. You notice the color starts to change slightly. That's that soy sauce in there. And also notice before we put it into the marinade, it looks kind of like cheesesteak, right? Did you think that?
Yep, it was sliced thin.
A little thicker than cheesesteak, but that's pretty much it. Now I've had my griddle preheating at low. Let's go ahead and crank it up to high, medium high. Let's go medium high. We're not going too crazy here. Let's hit that with just a bit of oil. You just want a nice little sheen. Let's see, are we smoking yet? We want to be right at smoking. And, ooh, I don't know if you can see that, CJ, but we are there.
There she is.
We are there. Now let's take our tongs. We want some of the marinade, but not all of it. We're gonna go right down, and you're gonna hear the beautiful, the glorious. Oh, we are cruising now. Now the soy and the sugar and the pear juice are all gonna start to condense and caramelize, creating like a straight, magical, sweet, savory experience. Spread it out a little bit, make sure you get some surface area. Oh, can you smell that, CJ? Oh, well. So good. Let's leave that for just a bit. One more piece of garnish I would like to do. I have the rest of those green onions. This will just be for garnish. So let's do some thin little cuts. Thin to win. All right? Am I right?
All right.
Dang it, CJ. When you're around. I
bring out the best.
You bring out the best. There we go. Our garnish is done. Our vegetables are done. Let's take a spatula here. Let's give this a toss real quick and see how we're looking. You can see on the edges, we're starting to get some of that caramelization, some of that beautiful color. Right there, looking good. Let's give it a toss. When this is about halfway done, that's when we're gonna add our vegetables. Oh, it smells unbelievable. Now this wasn't hard. Earlier in the episode, we talked about things that may seem difficult, but they're not. Let's give this like 60 seconds or so. What we're looking for is color and caramelization. We want that beautiful texture and color. Like I said, halfway through, we're gonna add our onions and our pepper so that they cook really fast, but they still maintain a bit of their punch, a bit of that crunchiness to them. So we're talking 5 minutes, maybe 6 minutes total, like very, very, very simple. The aromas, everything that we've done so far, glorious. Look at all that caramelization. Now that's both Maillard reaction on the beef and the pear and the sugar. Holy cow, we're done. We just created a masterpiece. Let's grab our plate. Now you could serve this with any vegetable that you like. You can serve this with rice. Also traditionally they don't put red peppers in it, but I like them, so I added them. Let me grab another spatula here. We'll go 2 for on it. Let's bring them over to our plate. I'm gonna go right down in the middle. Oh, come on. I mean, this is great to serve family style or like platter style, where you let everybody kind of do their own thing. Oh, goodness, come on. CJ, can you smell it?
Oh, yeah, buddy.
It's like all the things you want right here. If you wanted to, you could garnish with some like red chilies or some heat if you really wanted to. But you'll see in a minute, all these vegetables, since we added them toward the end, we can cut our heat off.
We might be garnishing with love bugs today.
Oh, geez. What? I know you love me better than CJ.
That's fine, they can love you.
The bugs. I own the bugs. Let's go with our green onion. a little bit of black and white sesame seeds, and we're done. I mean, this really is one of those things. It sounds difficult, it sounds impressive, but it's very, very simple, really easy to do. Not very many, you're familiar with every single ingredient that we use today, but when you put it together like this, it's just magic. Let's eat this, mother. Well, yeah. Oh. Flavors through the roof. And also, go with the ribeye. I know I said you can use anything you want. Use ribeye, because you need that little bit of fat, a little bit of beef glaze on there. It's so fantastic. So good. CJ, do you want to try this?
Yeah, dude.
Dude, get in here, buddy.
Get to get in here.
Oh, I forgot. Here.
What? I can. Give me those chopsticks.
Can you do chopsticks?
Of course I can.
Dude, they're so good. So, you know, we had all that sugar, actual sugar. We had the pear. We had the onion.
I actually.
You can see all of that. Do you
need to get a grip. There we go. Ah!
He's got to be foaming himself. Here, I'll help you.
No, you're good.
Don't you know that we're best friends? So good. Go platter style with this. If you're throwing a little party, even if it's like a football party or something that doesn't traditionally call for bulgogi, make it. Everyone can do their own little thing. So fantastic. I think key to this one is just because something sounds difficult or seems difficult because you get it at a restaurant doesn't mean it is. A lot of stuff is a lot more simple than you would think. Thank you guys. Try this one. Try this one. Thank you guys for hanging out. Be sure to check out all the other shows on the channel. If you haven't yet, click the subscribe button down below. Click the bell icon so you get an email every time we post a video. Check out CJ's show, Betty's show, Todd's show, Destination Delicious, Bruce, the Alligator Man Mitchell, the legend himself.
Stephanie T.
Stephanie T. How could I forget? Amazing. Actually, she would probably.
Yeah.
She would demolish me on this one. Yeah,
Yep.
Stephanie, if you're watching, don't.
Just don't.
Just leave a comment. Was it okay? Was it B+? I don't know. She's really great. But thank you guys so much for hanging out. This is Cook, Eat, Repeat, where we like to help you become a better cook one recipe at a time. I'm your host, Chef Nathan Lippy, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Can you get it, buddy? Dude. Why don't you run?